Oh, hello friends and neighbors, Scottish Reviewer here. Now, I know I haven't done a theater review in a while. But you know, what with directing the musical and forming the Fellowship and trying to defeat the evil haberdasher, I just haven't had the time. But I've got a little bit of time now, and it occurred to me that I think all of the theater productions that I've reviewed thus far have been musicals. And while I love musicals, I think it's time to give stage productions a chance. Because there are some really good ones on there, and so I am going to continue the series of shows I've been in, the series where I look at theater productions that I have specifically worked on, and I'm going to use it to tell you the story behind this suit coat. I purchased this coat at a Goodwill when I was in a production of the show that I'm about to review because it was a community production, and for budget reasons they told us to basically provide any parts of costumes that we could, so I went shopping at the Goodwill and this suit coat is a result. That story doesn't have anything to do with anything, I just wanted to tell it. But this particular show is one of the 2 shows that I have been in not once, not twice, but 3 times. So let's not waste any more time with life stories, let's talk about Arsenic and Old Lace. Arsenic and Old Lace is a 3-part comedy that tells the story of a dysfunctional psychopathic family, many members of which enjoy killing people. Hilarious, right? The story centers around 2 old ladies, Abby and Martha Brewster. They're sisters, and they're pretty much the stereotypical sweet old ladies. They love everybody, everybody loves them, they give generously to the church and any other charities that they can, and they have an enormous fortune with which to do so. They live with their nephew Teddy, who thinks that he's President Teddy Roosevelt, but more on that in a moment. And they are even kind enough to open up their home to any wayward traveler who happens to stop by and needs a room for the night. And not only do they open up their home to these travelers, they get to know them, they talk to them, they have tea with them, they have meals with them, and they are so sweet that if they come across a man who has no wife, no children, no family to speak of, who is all alone in the world, they do that man the ultimate kindness. They kill him. Yes, when Abby and Martha find a man who is all alone in the world, they give him poisoned elderberry wine and put him out of his misery. And that's sweet. Okay, so obviously the Brewster family is insane. You got these 2 old ladies who are killing men thinking they're doing them a kindness, and you've got a nephew who thinks he's President Teddy Roosevelt. There are 2 other brothers in the family. There's Mortimer, who is a cynical film critic. I played Mortimer. Quite a stretch, right? Actually, I bought this suit coat from Mortimer. Maybe Hatter should be wearing this. And Jonathan, who the family doesn't really speak of. He was kind of a troubled child. Mortimer comes over one afternoon to visit his aunts, and he discovers a dead body in the window seat. He discovers not only that his aunts killed this man who is in the window seat, they also plan to bury him in the basement with 11 others. And as if all that weren't enough, Jonathan comes home with his own dead body, and a string of about 12 more behind him. Hilarious, right? Okay, all kidding aside, this is actually a really, really funny show. You wouldn't think that a show about insanity and murder would be the least bit funny, but the ridiculousness, the absolute insanity of these characters and this situation is what makes it so hilarious. Mortimer is the straight man to all of this. He is the only member of the family who seems to have any sort of sanity. And one of the most hilarious parts of the show is just watching him react to all this, react to the fact that his dear old aunts are killing lonely old men. The humor in this show is in the dialogue. The dialogue is incredibly smart and incredibly funny. There are a lot of really subtle jokes slipped into the dialogue that you might not catch if you're not listening very carefully. But then on the other end of the spectrum, there are also jokes like Teddy yelling "charge" every time he runs up the stairs because he thinks he's charging up San Juan Hill. I mean, on the one hand you've got Mortimer, who's making all of these snarky, cynical comments and giving us all these great reactions to the insanity, and on the other hand you've got Teddy, who is just goofy. It's just goofy humor. In addition, the story, while essentially a pretty simple story, is actually in many ways very complicated. Because Jonathan's got a dead body and the aunts have got a dead body and they get shuffled around at some point, and so you have to kind of keep track of what body is where. And again, all of this is so ridiculous that you completely forget about the fact that between Abby, Martha, and Jonathan, they've killed about 25 people. In addition, the characters are very, very well written. Even after you discover that Abby and Martha have killed all of these people, they're still the stereotypical sweet old ladies. These are old ladies that we've all met at some point in our life, minus the killing thing, hopefully. Teddy, of course, is very likable. Mortimer is very likable, even when he's being kind of a cynical ass. Even Jonathan, to a certain extent, is likable. I mean, he's a bastard, but there's still a fair amount of humor in the character. But at the same time, he can also be very threatening. In fact, there is a point where you honestly believe that Mortimer's life might be in danger. And yet, even there, you still know that everything is going to be okay, and you still never lose track of the humor of what's going on. And at the end of it, you feel like you've watched just a really funny, ridiculous story that you could still see happening somehow. Like I said, I've been in this show 3 times. The first time I was a freshman in high school and I played Teddy. You can kind of see it, right? Bully! The second time I was a junior in college and I played Mortimer. And the third time I just graduated from college and I was the stage manager for the last week of the production. Long story. And all 3 of these times, it should be pointed out, I was not working in the best of directorial situations. Which is not to say that the performances weren't good, but I know that my experiences probably would have been better had I been working with better directors. And yet, despite the fact that I've worked on this show 3 times under less than ideal directorial situations, I still love this show. That, if nothing else, should be a testament to how good this show is. I mean, the other show that I've worked on 3 times is Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, and if you've been subscribed to me for a while, you already know how I feel about that one. If you haven't, I don't care for it. Now, Arsenic and Old Lace was made into a movie starring Cary Grant, and the movie is very good too, but personally, I prefer the stage production. So if you get a chance to see a production of Arsenic and Old Lace, I would definitely recommend that you go see it. You'll have a lot of laughs, you'll really enjoy it. On the worth meter, I would give this a worth seeing a professional production. And that's it for me. Until next time, I'm going to exit stage left. Bye. Charge!
Dogs drool.